everyone, and welcome to New Mexico Entertainment Television. We are so excited to bring our magazine format to the big screen, or in this case, the small screen, so you have an opportunity to see what New Mexico has to offer in terms of events and entertainment. So, without further ado, let's get started. New Mexico native Antonio Reyes has been creating mariachi music for 25 years. He recently announced the release of his new album, and we are excited to talk to him about his music and over 2 decades career. Okay, so you have now been in the business for 25 years. What is it that keeps you motivated and driven to continue to make music?
Well, 25 years, and that's scary, and I'm barely 26 years old. I'm just kidding. Um, you know, mariachi is really an honor and a privilege to be part of that industry, right? It's a great music. It's a music of a community. It's music of people. It's music of my culture, and I think that and my audience, folks, are definitely my motivation for doing that, right? Mariachi tells real stories about real people, and so I'm going to keep doing it as long as we have one person in the audience that's ready to hear the story. I will be that one person that goes out there to tell the story.
So, when it comes to creating the music, the songs, all of that, I mean, how deep involved are you in the creative process?
I learned a long time ago to own as much of yourself as possible.
Mhm.
When I first started out, a few years into my career, we were approached by a record label. I looked at that contract and I was overwhelmed by the language, first off, and the what ifs, which I was not about doing, right? I do mariachi well. This is what I love. This is my passion. When you do that, it's not work so much, right? And what I was reading that I was going to have to do was going to be a lot of work. I didn't sign the contract. If I didn't sell X amount of albums at by within a specific window, I had to pay all that money back. So I thought that's too much of a risk for me and not one that I was willing to take. So I walked away from that. Then I saw an interview where Dolly Parton, she said that quote about own as much of yourself as possible. It just hit it at the right moment because I thought, absolutely, well, a record label had to start somewhere, right? So I did some research on that, figured out how to start a record label. So I started my own. Um, and it really was just about my own music to be able to own everything from the licensing of it and the artistic control of it, all of these types of things that I didn't have to give up in that instance. Starting the record label, producing my own stuff really kept me involved in everything.
Now, you just have recorded a new album that's going to be released. Can you tell us about that?
So this one is my 7th studio album, and it is
Wow.
called Homenaje a Lola La Grande. Lola La Grande is how her fans, millions of fans throughout the world know her as, but it's Lola Beltran. Lola Beltran is mariachi's greatest singer to ever come out
Mm.
of Mexico, right? They refer to her as La Grande, which is the great or the queen of ranchera style of music, which is what I sing, right?
Hmm.
So she is adored and my biggest influence in the industry and in my music. And so I thought, what better way to celebrate my 25th anniversary as an artist? And this is also honoring the 25th anniversary of her passing because she died in March of 1996. I called over to a friend of mine who is the director for Mariachi Internacional Guadalajara out of Guadalajara, Jalisco. And I said, hey, I want to do an album and I want to pay tribute to Lola Beltran, but I want my recordings and my arrangements to sound as if you were going to back her up at a show live now. We selected the songs that we wanted. About half of them are her staple songs. So you have songs like Cucurucucu Paloma, Paloma Negra, Tres Días. So there's a few of her songs that are staples in her show, but then there are others that I loved off her recordings from back in the 50s and so forth. And I thought, this is my tribute to her. So it doesn't need to be all her top selling singles. So a really interesting fact about this, there's 12 songs on the album, and normally we'll block off a week to work in the studio the full time.
Hmm.
We had such an energy and everybody was in there with pure hearts and just a passion for the music. We did 10 songs in one day and the other 2 songs on the next day, and we fixed some words here and there throughout that. So we actually had a completed project in 2 days. It's amazing. One of my best, for sure. I am not even going to doubt that.
We're still dealing with COVID, but
Right.
how will this album be presented when the time comes that everything starts stabilizing?
So we've got a show ready to celebrate the 25th anniversary. So it's ready. The musicians are ready to start hitting the stages. Our dance troops are ready to start working the stages for all of the audience that wants to come out. We're just getting word. I know things are starting to open up. I've received calls already to different festivals, different fairs throughout the Southwest, whether it be in Colorado, whether it be in Arizona, looking for the live entertainment once again for the state fair events. So everybody's on hold, but we're ready. It's a great experience for you to come out and watch the show. Got a cast of about 20, 25 people ready, and it just becomes one great evening. And that's a joke we always joke, and I'll say that on stage too, is I always ask that people leave their troubles at the door. And if they're not completely satisfied, that their gloom would be cheerfully refunded.
Thank you, Antonio, for continuing your music and just being passionate about it. I am so proud of you. And
Thank
we
you
will
very much.
definitely we'll be talking again soon.
I hope so. We'll see you soon.
All right. So Sarah, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. So how is life post? I can't even say post COVID. I can't.
Just,
it's not. Yeah, it's not.
Don't jinx it.
Yeah, it's not. It's not post COVID. I mean, how have you been handling the new normal until we get back to the regular normal?
Yeah, it's been so interesting because I've gotten a chance to dive into doing digital comedy. So throughout the last year, I've been able to do a bunch of shows on Zoom. I've hosted my own talk show with the Box Performance Space and Improv Theater, and they have been doing a bunch of cool digital things. I've, done some podcasts and just anything the computer will let me do to be funny. I've gone for it.
I know that especially when it comes to burlesque performers or people that actually perform in front of an audience. I mean, you're a stand-up comedian. Did you find that difficult having to deal with the digital form and not having that person in front of you to, bounce the comedic jokes off of?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a change. It's a big adjustment. It's not a substitute. I mean, I guess it's like a sweet and low instead of a sugar, like it's fine and it'll make your tea sweeter, but like, it's not sugar. So like, now that I'm vaccinated, like I'm fully vaccinated, now that things are starting to look a lot safer in New Mexico, I'm really, really looking forward to more in real life stuff.
And I'm excited to see that you're working with Sidewinders. That was the latest thing I saw. So yes. I'm really happy about that. So tell us about this new show.
Sidewinders is such a fantastic space, and they've moved now down on Central into the building where the old Martini Grill used to be. So they've got these like spaces that are perfect for all kinds of different events. And they've got a huge patio, and they're keeping everything COVID safe, and they're on top of their game there. And they have this amazing cabaret room where once we're in turquoise, it's just going to be like, get it going. We're going to have things every single night. But for now, they've got like some spaces where people stay seated. And while they're eating, we're able to have some performers come up and do a little bit of, their performance and kind of dust off that rust and kind of just share what they do with some people, which is nice.
We have a lot of comedians up before everything went chaotic.
Yeah.
We have a lot of comedians who are doing a lot of shows. What do you think is going to be different with Sidewinders to drive people there to know that they're not getting the same old?
Yeah. So, I mean, the best part is that the event that I host on Wednesdays is it's a mixed media open mic. So it really anybody's talent in any sort of way, if they want to come and share it, they have the ability to do that. So they can sign up and they can sing, they can sign up and do poetry. Like you were mentioning, burlesque dancers and some of these other orphan arts that don't have performance spaces, or, this is really an opportunity to come and have a full stage to do what you want to do. And what's nice about me as a host is I'm also like a little baby DJ, and I'm also, like I do a million things too. So I know how to like run the audio and get things going for people, or whatever they want to do to show up and make happen. I can pretty much help facilitate that for them too.
Is that gonna be your official name, baby DJ?
Little baby DJ.
Little baby
Little
DJ.
baby DJ.
Is there anything else you look forward to as things start to stabilize and get back to what we remember as the regular normal?
Well, what I think is so interesting is even though we had this last year of almost like a hibernation here in Albuquerque and in New Mexico, and really around the world, New Mexico is so primed to just like explode in the next couple of years. Like you've seen like all the articles about Netflix expanding and all the businesses that are coming here, and just some of the stuff that we have in place is going to, I don't know. Albuquerque feels very exciting right now. And I think people are excited to get out, and there's going to be even more for them to do that. And I just think we're just going to have this like thriving nightlife, thriving entertainment. I think it's just going to be like a really, really exciting time for Albuquerque.
So this show happens every Wednesday at Sidewinders. Do you know some of the lineups that will be coming up for future shows?
Well, the nice thing is that being an open mic, anybody can sign up. So if you're watching right now and you want to be on the future lineup, I'm announcing you are going to be on future shows, people. But then also, like last night we had Zach Abeda, who's one of the best comedians in town. He dropped in, and just getting to see Zach murder for free is like such a great opportunity. And then also, Renee is one of the owners of Sidewinders, and he's got this brilliant voice, and he shared that with everybody, and he sang a couple songs. And so if it was just me, Renee, and one other comedian, that would still be a fantastic night of entertainment for free. But the fact that anybody could come by and anybody can perform is like a very exciting proposition. And I think it's
letting y'all know it's free. This is the opportunity for not only you to get out of your house, you're just pay for your food and drinks. There's no cover. Just go and enjoy. This is one of the greatest ways to get back in the swing of getting out there and enjoying the entertainment in this city. Is there anything else that you have coming up?
Well, I still do Sarah Kennedy and Friends online on Thursdays. It's the second and fourth Thursday of the month through the Box Performance Space and Improv Theater. Hopefully, we don't know what's going to happen with the state, but ideally, as soon as we're turquoise or we get to whatever space where things can be open, I live downtown, so I will live downtown. Like I'll be there. I'll be all over it.
Well, Sarah, we will keep an eye out for you, and thank you for coming on the show, and we will talk with you soon.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
Spanning almost a 30-year franchise, the Power Rangers have been entertaining audiences around the world. During a special signing at Asia Comics, we had the opportunity to interview two of the original Rangers, Catherine Sutherland and Nakia Burris, about their time on the show and why the show is loved by many.
Hello, New Mexico. This is Steph with New Mexico Entertainment, and we are here with two of the greatest superheroes ever, Nakia Burris and Catherine Sutherland, are the Power Rangers. Did you guys ever expect for the show to be as big and monumental as it was, or as it is?
It's amazing to me that all these years later, it started in 1993, and here we are in 2021, and it seems like it's almost more popular now than it was back then. And I attribute that a lot to social media and Netflix. I think it has a kind of a resurgence. People that watched it when they were little, when we were on the show, are now showing it to their children, and it's really cool because we see several generations coming to meet us. So it's pretty cool. But it's truly a blessing. Like we pinch ourselves all the time. We've been all over the world, meeting fans all over the world. Right. It's crazy.
Yeah, no one could have told me 20, however many years it was ago that I was on the show that people would still remember my character, almost 30 years later, and that it meant so much, that Power Rangers in itself meant so much. It inspired people to stand up to their bullies, to get into karate, to make shifts in their lives. Like, I didn't know that when I was on the show. I didn't find that out until I started doing signings and doing Comic-Cons and things like that, what Power Rangers really meant to people. So it's an absolute blessing.
Right.
Yeah.
What was your time like on the show?
Well, I was a college student at the time. I was a junior in college studying to be an actress, and to be blessed with a series regular job while I'm still in college was just phenomenal. So I was just excited to be working. And again, I didn't know when I auditioned for the show, I didn't even know what Power Rangers was, to be honest, because I wasn't really watching a lot of television, so I didn't know how popular it was. And I really didn't get, social media wasn't really around in the 90s, so I really didn't know the height of it, and I didn't know about Comic-Con. So it wasn't until I was introduced to the Comic-Con world that I saw how large Power Rangers is.
Yeah, and for me, it completely changed my life. I was in Australia, just acting and modeling, and then all of a sudden, my whole life shifted to this whole new culture, and leaving behind all my family and friends to be on this, follow my dream and be on this huge hit TV show. So it was very much a life-changing experience for me.
So we are coming up on the 30th anniversary of the show. So what do you think it is that made it such like cultural phenomenon?
Watching it now as an adult, I have a different perspective on it. When we were on the show, I didn't really understand what the Megazord was and morphing, and we would get like our script and we were focusing on our part, so I didn't necessarily understand what the show was about. But watching it as an adult now, it was colorful, there was diversity, there was someone that you could connect to in each of those characters. It had fighting and aliens, and it just covered a lot of different factors, and kids didn't have time to get bored. And so they would crave the next fix, Power Rangers fix. And I think I can understand now as an adult watching it why it was so different and so huge for so many kids.
I think it was really relatable. I get that a lot, that they saw themselves on television. Yeah. And when you can see yourself on television, it encourages you to want to seek more, to want to understand more, to kind of emulate what you see. And so, and I agree with everything that Kat said, with the diversity was huge in the 90s too. Walter says that he was the first African-American male on live action on television. Yeah. That's extraordinary. But it took all the way to the 90s for that to happen,
What are your upcoming projects that you have going on right now?
Well, we have our channel.
Yes, we do.
Power Rangers Playback. Check it out. And we have a new podcast called Super Chat with Kat and Nakia. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, any outlet for podcasts. I'm a recurring role on a kid show called Danger Force, where I actually play the mom of two superheroes. It's on Nickelodeon. Yeah, I have two fraternal twins, and they're superheroes, and the show is called Danger Force. It's a spinoff of Henry Danger.
Power Rangers Playback has been a full-time job for us, so I've just been pouring myself into that. I'm writing. We have a couple of projects going that we can't talk about, but things in the works. So it's been actually a really busy year, all considering.
So before we go, do you have any message for fans, family, anything like that you want to say?
Stay safe.
Yes.
Be encouraged. I always tell people, and it might sound cliche, but if God says something is for you, go for it, and don't let anybody tell you no. So many people told me, it's going to be so hard to get into the business. I'm just saying, go for your dreams and don't let anybody stop you.
Amen. Yes, ditto.
Two of my favorite places actually have been closed down, the movie theaters and Hinkle. I'm looking forward to both of those places reopening, and I hope they open up soon and safely, so we can all go out there and enjoy.
So my plan in the summer is go back to trooping like we used to do, dress up in our costumes and go to events. But also something else that I wanted to do is go to Meow Wolf.
Hi, this is Martin Cove, John Kreese from The Karate Kid. Now be in the know with New Mexico Entertainment.
Hey, I'm Billy Zabka. Remember the good guy from The Karate Kid? Anyway, be in the know with New Mexico Entertainment. No mercy.
MC Thomas Howell, be in the know with New Mexico Entertainment.
Anthony A. here for New Mexico Entertainment, the magazine, live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, with my good pals Ozoman. How you guys doing?
Good. How you doing?
Wonderful.
Good. Now, my first question I'd like to ask any band that comes through here is, do you guys have any New Mexican ties outside of music?
Do you have any New Mexican ties?
No, just a love for.
Just a lot of friends.
Love for
a lot of
green
homies
chili.
from people and
Like Geronimo.
yeah, Geronimo. We want you to get better out there. And New Mexico is one of those places that when we first started touring, we came quite a bit. And we've been able to gain a really, really nice fan base out here. So we see ourselves coming at least 2-3 times a year, if not more, you know?
You guys consider yourself a lot of things. I think one big thing is also the voice of LA. You could talk a little bit about what the meaning behind that is exactly.
I think the meaning behind that is that, I mean, obviously us three right here come from Mexicano roots, but then not everybody in the band is that. So there's a Japanese guy and there's a Jewish guy and there's this and that. It presents itself as how multicultural LA is and how some of the biggest populations outside of their native countries, whether it's the Thais or the Armenians or, you know, you name it, they're all in LA. So you're exposed to all this different culture. And I think growing up there, it kind of sets you up to appreciate a lot of different culture.
Ozoman lives on its quinceañera. If I'm correct, it would be 18 now, right?
Yeah, we're 18 years old.
So Ozoman could legally buy like adult magazines.
We could buy cigarettes.
And cigarettes.
Yeah. Topless nudies.
Topless.
We can finally vote.
Yeah, that's great. How does that make you guys feel?
You know, it's a blessing because for any band to last, you know, most bands, they only last like less than a decade, if that, 5 years, 3 years, one album, whatever. And we've been able to maintain this collective for so long that we're beyond the band. We're like a family, and you know, we've been blessed. You know.
And on top of that, you guys also have Ozomali Day, which is April 23rd.
Yes.
I mean, how does that even work?
Basically,
What is the
we can
Ozomali
park
Day?
wherever we want in the city. We can go to any taqueria, get a burrito for free. It's crazy.
Now I'm really looking forward.
What it was is actually we got given this day from the mayor, and what we did at the time was we tried to make it more about music education and the kids. So there was about 10 or 12 schools that from all over the city, from elementary to high school, that came through and performed in different groups and did Ozomatli songs. So we had a kids choir do an Ozomatli song. We had a ska band from a high school, jazz fusion band.
So isn't that kind of like a way for you guys to check out the next wave of talent too? Is that
in a way, and also just to give back to that we grew up in that city and we were learning music too. So we kind of definitely kind of like
bring attention to how important music and art is to young people, because we all experienced that growing up, and I think it was key and why we're musicians to this day. And it's one of the first things that gets cut when in budgets and things like that, and we think that that's ridiculous, and that it has an importance, it has a value, and I think we take that day to highlight it.
You guys recall your favorite art class growing up?
Music.
Obviously, right?
Yeah.
Duh. Come on, Anthony, my bad.
I think a lot of our music is a microcosm of what there is out in the world. Like all kind of music in the world was born out of some sort of fusion of different music. I mean, that's why salsa is called salsa, is because it mixes from different kinds of music. The arrangers of all the jazz and everything that was going on in funk, along with the mambo, and along with all the different nations that were getting together. Not just outside of the Latino America, everybody that there is, but everywhere within. Different countries and different cultures coming in.
Now you guys are here in Albuquerque for the dual language conference. How do you guys feel about dual languages in school and the importance of it?
I think that especially now, as the country is evolving in different populations and different people are coming in, it would be ridiculous for anybody to still hold the English-only party line. It's detrimental for people to say, "Oh, this is America. Why don't you speak English?" You know, we tour around the world, and it's very common to go to different countries where people speak at least 3 languages and 4 languages. It's like, in order for our kids to have an advantage in future markets and future whatevers, I don't see how speaking more than 1 language is going to hurt anybody, really. So, I mean, it's just common sense to me, beyond, of course, the culture aspect, the social aspect, whatever. You know, people holding on to their roots. But just as a future thing, I think that how can anybody not want to speak more than 1 language?
It's important to learn Mandarin, Chinese. I mean,
Or
that's
something like that.
That might be
you
the
know
future,
that's
bro.
what kids all should be learning, and rather than just English or Spanish. I mean, Spanish is the second biggest language. The first one is Chinese.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at where the world is going, if you actually pay attention to what's going on, man, China's a big thing.
I think it's I guess I understand like the perspectives of why that type of thinking is prominent in the development of a nation. You know, it's like you want a common kind of cultural tie, and America has never had that. And at this point, like Uli said, I agree with him. It's an asset to have as many languages as you can, because that's kind of where the world, that's becoming more the dominant culture, one that where you can walk in all these different circles and be successful.
Everywhere else in the world, when we play different places, we're not the only people in the world. It's such a selfish, weird thing to think. You go somewhere else, and there's really no language problems. And you go to Europe, you drive. You go to Europe and you drive 100 miles, and it's a different language or dialect. You know.
As musicians, how do you think being bilingual has benefited you guys?
I mean, it's both. You know, sometimes sometimes it prevents, you know, because I don't think all the structure, like some radio stations are only English, some are only Spanish. You know, in fact, I think a lot of the Spanish language stations are kind of more strict in certain ways. But also I see it changing. Like there's media groups, there's like channels now, like cable channels that are totally bilingual. There's radio stations now that are totally bilingual, that are big in Los Angeles. So a lot of times what fuels those changes are the economics behind it. Like if you can sell something to this group of people, we're gonna make the change.
2.5 years, 3 years, I believe, roughly. Ozoman turns 21.
Wow.
Is there any plans for that? I mean, legally.
Well, for sure we'll have a big 20. Because we had a 15 quinceañera big party. And even when we had our 10-year, remember? When we did a 10-year where we had every ex-member of Ozoman come play. So for sure, I don't know about the 21st birthday, but for sure the 20th we'll probably do a big shindig in LA.
Nice.
Well, if we don't come up with something by the 20th,
we'll do something for the 25th.
Yeah.
Anthony A., New Mexico Entertainment the Magazine, my good pals, Ozoman, we out.
Here is your New Mexico Entertainment in 60. The Margarita Crawl will create memories that will last a lifetime. The limited seat event will sell out fast. The Margarita Crawl is on April 10th, with the venue being announced 3 days prior to the event. The first annual Animus Bluegrass Festival will be a weekend of music, camping, and all the amazing activities that Tecotime River Resort has to offer. The Animus Blues Festival is on April 29th through May 2nd in Aztec, New Mexico. This year, the Gathering of Nations Powwow will be a live-streamed event featuring dancers from tribes across North America, music, and the Miss Indian World presentation. The Gathering of Nations Powwow is April 24th through the 25th at gatheringofnations.com. This has been New Mexico Entertainment in 60. For more events and entertainment, visit nmentertains.com. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to our first episode of New Mexico Entertainment Television. Please feel free to share with us what you would like to see on our upcoming shows. For more events and entertainment, visit nmentertains.com.